boys and girls. My name is Miss Jennifer, and I'm a teaching artist in the Pace Art program. I'm here today to make art with you. I am so glad that you could join me. Today we'll be going over a few things that you learned with your classroom teacher, and you will be learning a few new things with me that have to do with art. We will be using lines, shapes, colors, and we will be shading our pictures today. Yes, we will be shading. That means that we're going to color them in a certain way that makes them look really, really good. We're also going to be talking about maps, map keys, and we're going to be making a picture of us going through our community on a bus ride. So today we're going to be talking about a map. A map is a picture that is drawn on flat paper. It shows us how to find places through the world. We use maps to find different cities, states, and countries. A map also helps us to find roads, buildings, parks, forest, your friend's house, maybe your grandparents' house. Hey, how about your own house? Maps can be used to help us find all kinds of different places. What is a map key? Well, a map key is a little square, usually, or a little rectangle that you see on a map. It has words on it, but it also shows, this one shows different colors and different symbols. Now you might ask, what is a symbol? So a symbol is a little picture of something that you are looking for on a map. For example, if I look down here, right at the bottom, there is a little symbol here that shows a highway or a road. Now, if I look up on my map, there we go. There it is. Do you see it? It is the same little picture. So that helps me to be able to quickly find where I'm wanting to go by using a little symbol. We're going to be talking about symbols more, and we're going to be finding symbols in a map. We talked about a map key on this map. Now, I have one that I did a drawing of, and this map key we're going to be using when we draw our picture today. You can see that I have symbols and I have words. For example, this one, I have symbols for a hill. They're like little curved lines. If I look at a map, that will instantly tell me when I see these pictures or symbols, that is a hill or hills. Here we have mountains. These are points, kind of like letter A's. If you look at them closely, you can see there's a line in the middle. Those are our mountains. So if I say, boys and girls, let's find mountains on our map, you will know to look for these. And instantly you will be able to point on the map and tell me where they are. Here we have grassland. We have curved lines that have little bitty straight lines on top of them. Again, another symbol. We have a lake, which is a wavy line with little curves on the inside as the symbol. We have a road, and our road has a curved line or wavy line on both sides and a dashed line in the middle. And here we have a forest. And a forest has trees. So we have trees on top of our curved line. It's very simple. These little drawings are our symbols now for our map, and we're using a map key. Again, map keys are very important because they help us quickly find something on a map so that we can get to where we need to go very quickly. We have a picture here that is buildings, and those buildings make up part of our neighborhood. A neighborhood is a place where you live, maybe your friends live, your next door neighbor. You might even have a grocery store. You might even have a gas station in your neighborhood. It just depends on how large your neighborhood is. You can see in a neighborhood sometimes we have really tall buildings that have lots of windows. Sometimes we have smaller buildings that are close together. So if we have all of these little buildings that are close together, Maybe that could be like a little townhouse, or maybe even apartments. You can even have a house by itself. So let's look at our neighborhood map. And I want you to pick the one, just in your thoughts, that looks like your house. Good job. Now, not only do we have houses and buildings in a neighborhood, we also have roads. And you usually ride in a car or a truck, or maybe even in a school bus to get through your community. So you might live here and you might have to drive and stop, and drive down here, stop again, and there we are. We're at our friend's house. So we use roads to get from one place to another. So our neighborhood is sort of a small little area. But if we take that small neighborhood and we start to put neighborhoods together so that we have a neighborhood here, maybe here, here, maybe even here, all of those neighborhoods put together start to make part of a community. Now, let's think about this. In a community, if we have lots of neighborhoods, we might also have lots of buildings. Maybe places where your parents work, maybe places that you eat. How about maybe McDonald's? Chuck E. Cheese. How about Walmart? How about a gas station? How about maybe a place where you go to buy clothes? All of those places are really important in a community so that we will have everything that we need. Now, saying that, I want you to look on the map and I want you to find the great circle. I'll give you a little hint. It's made of a circle. If you said this is the great circle, you are right. Sometimes roads are not all straight or curved or wavy roads. Sometimes they might have a circle. In some places, we now have what's called a roundabout. That is where cars take their turns to go around the circle to go in the opposite direction. And so here we also have, what is this, boys and girls? You guessed it. That is our map key. So let's practice. I see here that we have a pencil. So here we go. Here's a symbol of a pencil. Now the symbol of the pencil next to it says school. We are looking for a school. So let's look for that symbol. And I found it. There it is. That would be the symbol for school. So if you had to go to school, you would go down the road until you get to the pencil, and then there you are. It's so much easier than just looking for a building that says school on top of it. Let's do one more. Here I find on the bottom a symbol that is of a barn, and next to it says farm. All right, you're going to do this one. Let's look for the barn on our map. Awesome. So yes, it is here. We found the barn. That was so much easier than having to go through each street looking for where the farm is at. So that is why a map key is so important for us to use. We're about to go on a little adventure, boys and girls. Anybody know what this is? If you said a school bus, you are correct. We are going to be taking a school bus ride through our community. So boys and girls, now what we're going to do is we're going to get our paper. It doesn't matter what kind of paper you have, but you'll need a sheet of paper, and you will also need a variety of crayons. We are going to be drawing a picture today, and we are going to be coloring our picture. So let's get started. Do you remember where you were just a few minutes ago when I had you get on something? Well, if you remember that you were on a school bus, that is correct. You should be settled in your seat and ready to go on a bus ride. Now remember, we're just going to use our imaginations for this. We're going to pretend that we are going through our community. We're going to be looking for buildings, houses, and we're going to be adding some map symbols to our picture. And let's get started. So, you'll be using your crayons today to draw and also color. I'm going to start off first by making my road. That is two wavy lines next to each other with a dash line in the middle. And so I am going to use my black crayon, but if you want to have a brown road, I am okay with that. We're going to make a windy road today. That means we're going to use our wavy line. I'm going to start here at the corner, and your roads don't have to be exactly like mine, but we need to remember that roads connect together. Think about when you're riding in a car, maybe with your mom, your dad, your grandparents, maybe your friends' parents. Let's think about that. As you're riding around, you see lots of different roads that connect together, and that is how we get from one part of the community to the next part. Now we're talking about map with our community, but if you remember that really big map that I had, well, there's maps that are really large, and it can be the area that you live in, it could be the state that you live in, it could even be the United States, or maybe even another part of the world. So maps come in different sizes and different kinds, but the thing that they mostly have in common is they have map keys to help people find places easier, especially if they're hungry and they want to find a place to eat. So let's get started. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to draw all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to start with my black. So let's start with our black. And I'm going to stop about right here because I need to leave a little space to make another road connect to it. I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to keep on going down to the bottom of my paper. Now remember, when we make our road, we need to have two wavy lines next to each other. So here I'm going to leave a little space. But this time I don't have to stop at the same place. I'm going to go a little bit farther out this time, and I'm going to make a little road right here. Let's leave a space, and I'm going to leave a bigger space this time, and I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. At this bigger space, we'll have other roads that will connect to it. Good job. Your road looks really good. All right, now I'm going to go back to here. I want to draw a windy road going out this way. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to draw my windy road off the edge of my paper. Again, remembering that we need to have two lines on each side to make a road. So I'm going to start back at the top here, and I'm going to draw my wavy line all the way down to the edge of my paper. So now we have a line going, or should I say we have a road going this way, and we also have a road going that way. And now we're moving over to a road on this side. We're going to start here, and we're going to go off to the edge of our paper this time. So sort of like a curved line. Start here and a curve to the edge of our paper. Good job. We're going to do the same thing here. Remember, you have to have two sides for your road, just like this. And now we have our roads going through our community. So now our school bus will be able to ride down the streets in our community. Let's think about this. If I have a road and there's something that is in the middle of the road to keep the cars from crossing over from one lane to the other, I'm going to need to put that line. Do you remember what that line is called? If you said a dash line, good job. So I'm going to use my yellow because it's usually a yellow line. And all you have to do is, in the middle of all of your roads, put a dash line, just like this. Good job. All right. The next thing that we are going to be drawing, because it's really important that we have our bus so that we can actually go down the streets as we draw what's in the community. So when we draw our bus, you can pick any place that you want on your picture. I think that I am going to make my bus right here. I'm going to start off by drawing 2 black circles. Those are going to be the wheels on my bus. Now I'm going to be using our shapes connected together to draw a picture. There are my 2 circles. The next shape I'm going to draw is my, yep, you're right, my rectangle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a smaller rectangle on the top. And there is my school bus. If you want to draw some straight lines to make some windows, maybe make a dot for the bus driver and maybe a dot in another window where you are sitting, you could do that. You can even put little dots in the center. So there you go. You have your school bus that you're going to be riding through the community in. All right, let's go back to our map key now. We are going to be using these symbols as we draw our community today. And those symbols happen to be symbols of landforms. Now, landforms are different kinds of land. Sometimes water will wash away soil and it will leave like bumps and holes in the ground. Or sometimes wind will blow really hard and again it'll leave holes and like big hills, big curvy lines on the ground. So here I have a pond, which is a landform. We have a lake. Those are 2 different kinds of water that were made through time as the soil got pushed away and the water started to collect. And we also have mountains that are like triangle tops that are very high. And here we have one that's grasslands. Grasslands have lots of grass. And so we're going to be using landforms. So here we have our little curves for our hills, our little A's or our little points for our mountains. And we're going to talk about all of the rest as we go through our picture. The very first one that we're going to be adding to our picture today will be our hills. And this is what hills look like. They're kind of windy. And pick any place that you want in your map. And we're going to now make our hills. And I think I'm going to make my hills here. But I want to change to a brown crayon. Here we go. So here I'm going to have my landform that are hills. My map symbol tells me, there they are. Now, I'm going to go ahead and in this little area where my hills are at, I am going to draw a house. Now, I'm drawing mine kind of sideways, but if you need to turn your paper to see it better, you can do that. That's the bottom of my house, and I'm going to draw the roof and maybe a door, even maybe a window. And you can add as many windows as you want. Maybe that is your house. Maybe you live in the hills. Then we're going to move on, and maybe this area right here, we might be putting grasslands, which would be curved lines, and little straight lines on top of that. So for that one, I'm going to use my brown to draw the ground. And then I'm going to take my green and I'm going to put little straight lines for my grass. Now remember, for a grassland, there is grass all over. And here we go. Here's my map key symbol, and there it is. Now taking my black crayon, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make another house or building. Decide, who do you want living next to you in your community? All right, so here we go. Again, a rectangle. And I might make a roof like this. So we're going to go up, across, and down. Instead of making a point for a triangle, we're going to make a flat roof. Again, you can add a door. You can add windows. Might want a window on both sides. That is okay. Now, we just drew a building, and I said that you could decide on who you wanted to live there. We also talked about the symbol for grassland. This is what grassland looks like. It mainly just has lots of grass on top of land. And so the next one that we're going to be talking about is our mountains. Mountains have points on top, kind of like it could be the top of a zigzag line. I think for this one, I am going to use my purple crayon to draw my mountains. And this is what the mountains look like. Nice, tall, pointy tops. So these are mountains, and that's what we're going to be making next. So on our picture, I think I'm going to do mine here. Again, I'm going to have to do it to where it's kind of on the side, but feel free to turn your paper if you need. So I'm going to draw those points. So there we go. Point, point, and you can just put them anywhere on that part of your paper. Now, mountains have little snow caps. That means that they're in a place where it stays really cold and snow can kind of sit on the top of the mountains. And so that's why I made it like the letter A, because the snow would be on the top. Again, I need to draw a house or a building. So maybe if this is my house, maybe this is my friend's house, I might want to draw a grocery store here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to draw it into either a square or a rectangle. And you know what? I think I want mine facing this road. And so I am going to draw it going this way with a point on the top for the roof. Here's my door. And again, here are windows. There are lots of different ways that we can make windows, boys and girls. You can make them so that they have like a square. This one maybe is more like a longer rectangle. All right, so good job. Now we have another landform to talk about, and it is this one down here. This one is a forest, and a forest basically has lots of trees. Here are our trees. Our trees are nice and tall and dark green. So I am going to use my map key to help me make my trees. And so here's one, and I kind of have it so that there's two trees next to each other, a large tree and a small tree. And so I'm going to just draw my straight lines first. Then I'm going to draw little straight lines that are in a diagonal. So a diagonal goes from one corner to the opposite corner. Here we go, one corner to the opposite corner. And I'm going to put my diagonal lines on each side of my trees. Let's do that now. Good job. You might even want to take your brown crayon. If you see here on my map key, I also made the ground. And there we go, just like this. Now, there is one symbol we did not use yet. Let's go over them. We used the hills. We used the mountains. We used the grassland. Did we use the lake yet? If you said no, you are right. We did not use the lake. So we're going to put our lake right here. And I think for my lake, I'm going to use a blue crayon because a lake has water in it. And so here I'm going to make a big lake, and I'm just going to use my wavy line. But I want to connect it back together because, of course, we don't want the water leaking out of our lake. You can also make little curves or sometimes even like little waves for your water. Now I'm going to do something here that's really fun because I want to have a fish in my pond. How many of you would like a fish in your pond? Ooh, that's a lot of hands. I say, let's make a fish. All right, so here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an oval laying down on its side. And then we're going to put a triangle on the end. Good job. I'm also going to put a dot for the eye. And now I have my lake. So now I have used all of my symbols on my map key, and we are getting ready to actually start coloring. Now there are a few more things that we can add to our picture as we color, like sidewalks, maybe flowers. Maybe you could add your pet to your picture. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back and think about the fact that you're still sitting on a school bus in your imagination, and we are going to find our school bus. Put your finger on your school bus, on your picture. Here's mine. I have my finger on my school bus. And I'm going to start to ride in my school bus. So I'm going to ride a little bit, and I'm looking off in this direction. And what do I see? I see mountains and a house. So I am going to use my brown crayon. And you can do this if you want, but you don't have to. I'm going to make a little sidewalk. I am also going to make a little chimney that has smoke because I'm warming up my house in the mountains. Remember, we had that snow on top of the mountains. It's pretty cold here. And so I put my little chimney. I'm going to color in my chimney now. And I'm also going to color in my sidewalk. So let's do that now. I also want to color my house. Just pick a color, any color that you want. Maybe for this one, I want a blue house. So I'm going to color my house. Now I want to show you something. As you are coloring, like I just did here, I want to share something with you that we do in art, and that is called shading. So shading basically is when you draw something. Like maybe here I'm drawing a rectangle, and you color it in very lightly. But you want one side of your rectangle to maybe be a little darker. And so what you would do is you would color it darker, just like this, and then you're going to get lighter and lighter all the way around, all the way to the middle. And there we go. So I have the darker corners, and I just shaded those corners. Sometimes it might be the top of a tree, and you shade along the sides, and you color the rest of it very lightly. That is what we call shading. Shading sort of helps our pictures to look like they might have sun shining on them. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade a little bit on my house. This part's lighter, this part is darker. I'm also going to color in the roof of my house, and I think I want to color this one brown. So again, I'm coloring it, and then the important thing that I need to do next is I need to shade, making one part of it darker, just like this, and it looks like the sun is shining on it where it is lighter. And so this is lighter, and then this is sort of the shadow, and that's why we call it shading. When you have time, I want you to finish coloring your picture. So boys and girls, today we learned about maps, map keys, we learned how to shade using our crayons, and we took a ride on a school bus through our community. We also talked a little bit about neighborhoods and different places that people live and where people work. We also talked about landforms, and we used different symbols that we found on our map key to show us where the landforms were throughout our community. I enjoyed making art with you today, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. Now I want you to make your own map, and maybe you making it to your friend's house. Maybe you give your friend a map how to get to your house. Wouldn't that be cool? Until next time, I want you to practice drawing, have fun drawing,